Hi everyone, this is Steph with Stampin' and Scrappin' with Steph, and tonight I'm going to be sharing with you my last to go, which was making two of these boxes. They're big boxes, and then we'll be making two cards here. So I'm just going to give it a minute. Remember to leave a comment. Let me know that you're here. And I'm just going to make sure that everything is working before I start. As you can probably notice, my backdrop over here is just a little bit different. I decided to sit in a different spot in my kind of crafting space in my basement. I figured rather than kind of seeing my ceiling and the lights that always seem to cause a glare, I moved myself over to a table. So at least you can kind of see behind me where I display stuff. Hi Teresa. Hi Lisa. Okay. All right. On that note, of course, my Facebook over here is not cooperating, but since you guys are on, I'm assuming I'm streaming okay, because you just never know with my luck down here. All right, well, I can't tell. All right, so I'm going to switch my screen and we're going to get started. Alright, so here is the projects. I'm just going to adjust my light. Okay. Alright, so today's projects, like I mentioned, are these two gift boxes here. And you can see just how big they are. So this is a standard card. This is the card size we always make. And so if you put the box next to it, you can see just how much bigger. And this one was really fun to make too. And then this is the inside of the box. So you can see I have some, oh, that looks like some candy. Oop. So we have the gloves, a couple pieces of candy, a thing of lotion, some chapstick, and there's still plenty of room that I could fit a few more things in here. So I'm going to show you how to actually make this red version, and the paper that I used is going to be slightly different. It's still from the Snail Mail Designer Series paper, which is like, I'm so excited that I can finally share with you that the new catalog. So if you haven't seen my Facebook page, you can link to my website and actually download the catalog if you don't have a physical copy. I don't have one sitting in front of me to show you the page, but it's a fun little set here. And this is the stamp set. And then, oop, I lost a snail. And then these are the dies. And what's fun with one of these sets, which I love that Stampin' Up! Has been doing this, is on the Designer Series paper, the dies fit some of the images. So then you get to cut out, kind of have double duty with the paper. You can either use it in a project or cut it out as like an embellishment. So, all right. So because my setup is a little different, I'm a little out of sorts. So bear with me because my stuff is not normally where I would have it on my desk, but it should be fine. Okay, so we're going to start with the box. And the box is easy to do. You're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. And each piece needs to measure 7.5 by 7.5. So in these projects I did real red, and then the other box was done using Bermuda Bay. Then I'm going to take out my scoring board. And I'm going to score on each piece of paper on all 4 sides at 1 3/4. So I have, ignore all these marks. I have one right here. So I'm going to do 1. And then the second piece. Oops, this one. And of course, my scoreboard just wants to keep skipping on me. But that's it. That's all you need the scoring for. So if you have a trimmer, you could certainly use your trimmer. I don't want to go in. All right. So here is one paper. Hopefully you can see the score lines. I'm going to grab my bone folder. And what you're going to do is fold on all of your score lines. How's the lighting? Because my light over here is driving me nuts. Is there a glare? Because it's the way I have it, it's kind of shining in my face. So, is that too dark? I need to maybe reposition it a little bit. Alright, I'll try that. Okay. I felt like I was sitting too close to it. The bulb was actually hot on my face. Okay. So now, to do the box, we're going to cut up on these score lines here up to this score line, and then you're going to create a little notch, and that just helps it close better. So do it up this side. But the light is better. Okay. I kind of moved it back a little bit, so let me know if it looks too dark. And then we're going to basically do the same thing on the other piece of paper. Trying to make sure I'm in screen. I'm also getting used to this new stand. I'm like a nightmare over here. Okay, good. Glad it's good. Hey, if you can't laugh at yourself, right? Oh, goodness. I keep sticking to my paper. I feel like I'm frozen. All right. Switcher must not like the new position that I'm in. Every now and then my screen looks like it freezes. I love paying for a software that I get nowhere with when I ask them for help. I guess it is what it is. Okay, so now I'm just cutting up the same way on the other piece of cardstock. So just going up along that score line and then notching the edges. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm in view here. Okay, so when you have them all cut, because we're putting designer series paper on our lid, I want to make sure that I decorate my lid before I actually assemble the lid. I find it's easier to put the paper on when it's flat. Once it's assembled, I don't know. I mean, you can do it either way. That's just my preference. So I'm just going to choose one as my bottom. So I'll just deal with the one that's in front of me. And I'm going to use my liquid glue just because it is a big box. I want to make sure it adheres properly. And I'm going to add some glue to all 4 of these tabs. And then I'm going to fold them over and here to the edge. Now I am only showing you one box, but if you did my to-go kit, you received one of each. So you get the one in the real red, and then you'll have one in Bermuda Bay. And you just assemble them both the same way. And if you get stuck, once this video posts live, you can go back and fast forward to the sections that you need to see. But it's super easy to put together once you do one. And just like that. And by cutting those tabs, it just helps the paper to sit a little more evenly. So this will be my bottom. And I'm going to set that aside. So now I'm going to take what's going to be my lid over. And for this particular one, I decided to use these mushroom printed paper. On the original one, it's, the little envelopes and the packages with the little hearts on them. And then the Bermuda Bay one has the snails all over it. But since the papers have all the colors in them, I don't really think it matters which ones that you use. And for the sake of the fact that, you know, in the designer series paper pack, we only have so many of certain designs. So I wanted to make sure for those that ordered it, I gave you exactly what you needed to do it. And I just kind of dealt with what I had left over for my sample. So I'm doing the mushrooms, which I think the mushrooms is really, really cute. And then the reverse side of the mushrooms are the little word bubbles. Hello, bonjour. And so some of the box, so actually, let me back up a bit. So on the boxes, aren't the mushrooms so cute? They're wicked adorable. I almost wish I kind of made my first box using the mushroom too, but either way. So on this one, you see it says hello, and that's actually, I don't know if I have one not cut out yet. So that one is right here, and the die that's in the pack cuts all these little sayings out, except for the ones that go where the bubble goes. Well, I guess you could do it upside down. Oh, I didn't even think of that until I just looked at it. Never mind. You just put the die on differently. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to try that. So for the to-go kits, because, again, I can't include stamped images unless you purchased the stamp set itself, so I didn't want to leave you with just a blank word bubble. I cut out this, which is the reverse side of the mushrooms. And I gave everybody little words. So some of you might have the bonjours, some of you might have the hellos. I think a few of you, I gave the little ones with the hearts. But it's a great way to maximize your paper. I love it. All right, so now we have the box lid. And actually, you could probably do that side too if you wanted. But I'm gonna stick with my little mushrooms. And I'm going to use the Stampin' Seal. It's so weird. I haven't sat at this table to make projects or, oh my God, probably since last, gosh, it has to be like last March at the latest, because all of a sudden it became a desk where I sat down here with my son to do schoolwork. And I haven't had a card club in my house since then. So I feel a little odd sitting here. I always just sit at my desk. So funny. But anyway, all right. I'm sticking. All right. So to get to the measurements, so the designer series paper for the lid would be 3 3/4 by 7 1/4. So I just did 1/4 of an inch shorter than what the box would measure. And this is, like I said, it's a good size box. And then you're going to need 2 strips that would be 1 1/2 by 7 1/4, and that's these 2 big edges. And then 2 smaller ones at 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. I know, Teresa, I was even thinking, like, we see each other enough that you could probably could come here for card club, but now I never know if I'm working until like the week before, but maybe we could figure it out. And I'm going to stick that here. Now, you don't have to put designer paper on the sides of your box if you don't want to. I just think it gives it a nice finished look if you're giving it to somebody. And then when I do this tab, I flipped my paper upside down because I know when this gets assembled, it's going to sit the right way. And of course, don't stick your paper down wrong like me. And that will go right there. And then I'm going to do the same on my sides. Like that. So I have my laptop sitting over here, and normally it will tell me I'm live, and that's how I know, and I kind of keep an eye on it that things seem to be working right, and it still hasn't sent me a notification. Oh, goodness. All right. So at this point, you can assemble your box, or you can continue with decorating your lid, whatever you want. I'm just going to assemble. That way the glue has time to dry without me adding stuff to the top of it just yet. And these come together rather quickly. There's a lot of die cutting to this, but I don't know. I didn't feel like it was very time consuming. I think I just had an idea in my mind and I just went with it. Hola, Joe. It's a good thing Teresa tells me you're waving because I wouldn't see you otherwise. Okay. So, to do the lid, you actually need a few pieces. So, even though this is actually, let me switch just because I don't want you to be confused. So, I have this background piece here, which is embossed. You can see, kind of cut out with a stitch. And this is also a new die. I believe there was a set that kind of went with it in the catalog. I didn't end up getting it. I just like the dies. I think it was with a set that I wasn't really sure that I would use. But they're called Stitch with Whimsy. And let's see. They look like this. Now, I can totally tell that I was confused in the very, very beginning. I will admit that. I can tell you that. Because I thought they cut out and die cutted. They do not. They just die cut. So what you want to do is cut your paper to the size that you need. And I've only figured out the ones that I've used so far. So I used this die and this die. So you're going to cut your paper, and I wrote it down, to 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, and then 2 3/4 by 1 1/2. And then that will be a perfect size to cut out this shape. Which I already did. And then this one is this piece right here. And that's the 2 3/4 by, what did I say, 1 1/2. Okay. So now I'm going to get my Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, and I'm going to show you all the little bits we're going to cut out. They're so fun, Lisa. You're going to love them. All right. And of course I have this little glare right here. All right, so I'm going to try to see if I can get all of this stuff to go through at the same time rather than doing one at a time. So we have the white piece with our die here. And you just want to center it. Now I will admit I do not have the new magnetic plate or platform. I went to order it and it said it wasn't available. So I don't know if I did something wrong. I really didn't investigate. But cutting out smaller pieces definitely would want the magnetic. Okay, so here's my little bubble. And that's from the Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to stick, I'm going to hope for the best. All right, now I have a little piece of Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to put this little die, which is the little, I guess, note card. I have my snail, super cute, and that one has a die. Let's see what else. Oh, there's this one, this die right here, and I'm going to put that on a piece of real red. You can't see it, it's off camera. I think I'm going to have to focus on my height too. I think I'm a little too close. But, hey, first night, right? Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to cut out is going to be the little envelope, the little love note envelope I called it. And I'm going to cut that with Blushing Bride. And that looks like this. And I'm going to stick it on a piece of paper like that. And add my cutting plate gently. Doesn't look like I moved anything, so I'm going to go through. Sorry, I'm at an angle. And there, I think we're through. And I need one more thing to cut out and then we can get going. I think some things shifted a little bit, but for the most part they cut out evenly. All right, and I need to do one of those little note cards in white. So here are the little pieces. Oh yeah, see, he's a little off. That's all right. It's just my sample. I would totally make sure they don't move, and if it does move, I'd probably redo it. So I'm just trying to make sure I have everything that I need. All right. So to do the little box envelope here, you just basically fold on the score lines, and then I just kept one open. So you can do liquid glue or glue dots or anything like that. I'm just going to add some Tombow, and I'm going to hold it down for a second and set it aside. And I have this little box here and this little kind of squiggly note that came in the Designer Series paper, so I'm just going to use my scissors and cut that out. And the way I did the card was pretty similar to the box as well, so if you figure out how to put the box together as far as the decorative side of it, the card is, with the exception of maybe one piece, I did to coordinate almost identically. So now I'm just fussy cutting these out. There isn't dies for these, which is not that big of a deal. Now the only stamping that I did was on the note card. I just added a couple hearts, just so the white didn't look boring. If you were giving this as a gift, you could certainly write a little note, like, you know, I love you, or something like that. So I'm going to put the heart. I'm going to take out my real red. And what I did was stamped directly on, and then I stamped again, and then I stamped again. And I got ink a little bit where I didn't want it, but still, I just did that triple stamp like that. Alright, so to assemble, basically, I took the Whisper White piece, and add the adhesive here, I'm going to put dimensionals on the back, and that just slightly overlapped like this. I added adhesive to the back side of the envelope and just kind of kitty cornered it there. Now I didn't adhere the note cards. I just kind of stuck it together like this and then slid it in. So you could certainly stick it. Oh, and I forgot to do my ribbon. Dang it, Steph. So I'm all excited putting things together and I'm forgetting what I'm doing. So what I did is I took the Snail Mail twine, which is Blushing Bride in a Whisper White, and I wrapped it around this. To me, this is like a stamped square. And then tie a bow. You could tie a knot, whatever you prefer. I guess I really didn't mess that one up, but it's ever one of those days where no matter what you do, your fingers just are not cooperating. I feel like that's me every day. Alright. That looks good. So now I'm going to take my little snail, I'm going to add dimensionals on this one, and I just stuck that one kind of towards the bottom here. Add a little bit of adhesive on my note. Let's see, I think I did it like this. I added a dimensional on the back of the little gifts. Whoop. And stick that there. And then a dimensional on my little word bubble, or thought bubble. And there. Super easy. So now I'm just going to add dimensionals to the back, and this can go on my box. Note to self, don't put lotion on prior to this. I'm a little slippery. Alright, and then that goes like that. Here's the bottom. Alright, so I'm not alone. Oops, I'm off camera, but I'm not alone. And then that's the box. Oh my god, and it fits so snug. So if you were going to put something in here with a little bit of like heft to it, you know, it fit really nice. And you could also wrap a ribbon around to close the box that way. You could do a little circle punch on the side as like a tab, but I just like kind of separating it myself. Alright, so that's the box. And now I'm going to do the card. So this is the card. I used the basic Whisper White for my background. And so we're going to do a lot of cutting on this one using the die. So I'm going to bring my Big Shot back in. Ooh. And thank you. Alright. So the 3 cutting plates. Hopefully. Ooh, jeez, I'm like slip sliding away. Alright, so that's the card. And this time I'm using the little snail. And the dies. So, same thing. So we have the basic gray here, and so I cut that one the same size as the Bermuda Bay one. And I'll give you that measurement in a second. So we're going to do the real red. Let's see if I can get it all to fit. And then I'm using Daffodil Delight for this little swirly piece. And that one is from Painted Labels. And I used this swirly kind of die right there. For the envelope, I am using the Bermuda Bay. Let's see, can we get it all? I need one of the little note cards. I'm going to do that one first. I have a little bit of stamping, and then we'll cut everything that's left out. All right. I guess my table's a little wobbly. Alright, so there's that one, the snail. Oh, that didn't cut all the way through. Well, that's alright. We'll make sure that side is hidden. The postage piece. And the envelope. Alright, so for this one, the stamping that I did is I did the word bubble myself, and I used Bermuda Bay. For the to-go kits, you would have gotten a pre-printed one, just because I wouldn't be able to give you the stamped. Oh, let's get a block that fits. So I'm going to do the word bubble. And then from this new set, Hydrangea Haven, I'm taking this little bitty one here that says with love. I couldn't believe when I was searching for a tiny greeting that it was there. I was like, oh, I'm never going to find one, and I didn't want to handwrite, and then there it was. And I mean, you can cut out first, then stamp, but I'm going to do it while it's open. So there's the with love. Messy, messy. All right, move these things all out of the way. Bring my die back, or die cut machine. And now, oh, there it is. Okay. So now I'm going to cut this out. I need the little white note card. I'm going to add the little word bubble. Run this through. And then I'm just going to do the same thing, the teeny heart. Whoop. And stamp once, and then twice on that one. And now we're going, oh wait, I didn't do one thing. Whoop, 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 stuff. I wanted to show you, there it is, how to do the stitched whimsy one. All right. So, like I said, you can measure each die and figure out how big you need to cut the paper. So for the bigger one, well, for this one it was 3.5 by 4 3/4 for this size, and that is the second largest in the pack itself. And so we do that, run it through. And then there's this piece. And just like the box, we have a couple things we're going to cut out, which is the envelope there, and the little love note, or scribbly note, whatever you want to call it. And of course my pellet stove has to make a lovely humming sound right now. Oy. So I'm sorry if that's obnoxious to you guys. I've been down here most of today getting stuff situated and redone, and the stove hasn't made that noise once. But you know how it goes. Okay, enough about my horrible space. Okay, so let's do the ribbon or the twine again. So we're going to wrap it around this one, which, like I said, reminds me of like a little postage stamp shape. Now you don't have to do both together. I did. I just like that it added that extra. Tie a knot if you don't like bows. Tie the bow, then glue it down, whatever whatever works for you. All right, so to assemble, and you saw my thing didn't cut right. I think that's when it shifted, but that's all right. We can hide that, just like that. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is add the dimensionals to the back. And that goes here. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to one side of the little scribbly thing, and then a dimensional there. And I'm going to stick this kind of like that. All right. Let's put our little envelope together. Same thing like the pink one, just fold it all in. I'm just going to hold this for a second. I'm going to add a dimensional to the back of my snail when I'm here, to the back of my word, and to the back of the little envelope we cut out. So stick the little envelope there. Same thing, I didn't adhere the little note cards. I left these loose so that you could take them in and out. Ooh. These I didn't stick together. If I was mailing that as a gift to somebody, I totally would adhere it together. And tuck that in. Here's the little snail. The little word bubble. Isn't this cute? I just, this whole set, when I first looked through the catalog, I wasn't sure. I was kind of like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm in on that whole game. Then I said, all right, I think it's really cute. And I looked at it more as like Valentine-y, I think. And I don't think it's like in the catalog featured like a Valentine. And then when I started playing with it, I was just like, oh, this is so cute. And I guess the snail mail is like fitting today. Mail has been taking forever to be delivered. So dimensionals on the back. Stick your basic gray down. And that's the card. I mean, I'm talking, moving a little bit faster than I normally would, but either way, I mean, the card still comes together rather quickly, even with all the little pieces we cut out. So now I've cut out a little strip here that has that die cut design, and I'm sticking this to the bottom of my card on the inside layer, you know, so they have a cute little picture to, or design to see when they open the card. And then let's not forget our envelope. So there's this big mushroom side, which I love. It is so cute. But I'm going with the teeny tiny heart side here. And just remember, when you're doing paper that has a direction, put it the correct way, so when you close the flap, the picture is not upside down. So this is cut about, I think I did like 2 1/4. Yeah, 2 1/4 by 6. And that gives a good edge. And then we're just going to trim it. Now, if you have stamps that you're using, you could totally stamp your envelopes. But how adorable could this look going through a mail and somebody reaching into the mailbox and having an envelope that looks like that? I just love it. It's so fun. I actually love seeing like handwritten cards come through the mail now that all the pre-approved visa applications keep coming in. And then that's the card today. So here's the cards, the box I did for you today, and then the other two boxes. So I want to say thank you guys so much for everybody that got this to-go kit. I had a lot of fun designing it and cutting everything out for you guys. I just enjoy, you know, doing that stuff. It keeps me busy. And I want to say thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I'm super grateful that you took time out of your evening to be here. I appreciate it. And till next time. So thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.